The Board of Zoning Appeals to order on this Monday, May the 10th. Mrs. Kukla, please read the preamble.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read the preamble this morning. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law under COVID-19 emergency declaration, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meeting according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute to announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Call-in users can unmute by using *6. So those on the phone, please use *6 to unmute yourself. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Well, because there are only 4 members present today, and there's a possibility of getting to a tie of 2 and 2, we would like to let people know that they have the right to postpone the case till we have a full complement of board members. Okay, please do a roll call.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Donovan?
Here.
Ms. Faith?
Present.
Ms. Britt?
Here.
Ms. Barnes will not be present. And Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a quorum. And again, for everyone, we have 4 members present. That means that if we have a tie vote, the variance is essentially denied. So again, you have the right to postpone until we have 5 members. Any applicant who wishes to request a postponement, please do so at the beginning of your hearing.
Ms. Faith, we're going to start with Councilman Kelly's case, the last one on my list, 21-063.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 21-063 at 6908 Southfield Avenue. Nicholas Razakis, owner, proposes to erect a 2-story residence with Rock on a 5,000 square foot lot in an A1 1-family district. The owner appeals for the relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Madam Chair, Maurice Rollins, City Planning. We would like to request a postponement for this case because it has not gone through the Housing Design Review Subcommittee. No design review has been done on this case yet.
Board?
I guess my question is, should we fully read everything in and then entertain that motion?
Ms. Faith has read the description, and I'm not sure if we need to swear anybody else in or anything.
Well, if there's going to be discussion about whether or not we postpone it, we should swear people in. That would be part of the discussion.
Well, there is a motion. Do we have a second on that motion from Maurice?
Well, I can't make a motion.
No, you made the motion, so.
He can't make a motion. He can.
I can't make a motion.
I know that. I just need a second of the motion that Maurice made, I should have said.
Tim. Oh, you mean Tim?
Yeah, I'm here. I'll do it. Madam Chair, we've been asked to postpone this case by City Planning. I would move that we would allow their requests.
I'll second. Call the roll.
Liz?
Call the roll.
What happened
I
to Kukla?
apologize. I apologize. I thought it was unmuted. Ms. Bates,
Yes.
Ms. Britt,
Yes.
Mr. Donovan,
Yes,
Ms. Johnson.
Yes, do we have a date?
Yes, Madam Chair, we can get it on June 14th.
Okay, without objection?
Without objection.
Okay,
without objection.
thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilman.
Kelly, we postponed you until June 14th.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
For you too.
Thank
Council.
you.
Keep that rain turned off.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I got it. I got it. Whole week,
Go
I
right
guarantee.
Go ahead, Ms. Faith.
All righty. Starting with number 1, calendar number 21-058 at 1852 West 50th Street. John Heaney, owner, proposes to erect a 2-story single-family residence with a detached garage on a 3,965 square foot lot in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you. Tim?
Everyone for this case, kindly raise your right hand. I'm going to read a statement. I'm looking for a response of I do with your name. For anyone who's going to testify in this case, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do. Jenny Spencer.
Any other?
I do.
swear? Your
Heather
name?
Tonsing Bollison.
Okay. Anyone
I
else?
do. Matthew Fairman.
Okay. Anyone else?
I
do,
do,
Adam
Adam Davenport.
Anyone else?
I
do. Michael Fant.
Okay. Anyone else?
John Paul Heaney.
My God. All right. Anyone else?
All these people for this.
I
one
do.
day.
Amy Havers.
Okay. Last call. Anyone else for I do?
I do. Council member Jenny Spencer.
Okay, Jenny. Anyone else?
I do.
I
Trisha
do. Melanie
Ketchmeyers.
Haney.
I think we're having a block club meeting. Anyone else?
I do. Donna Gregonis. I don't know if I was heard earlier. Thank you.
Okay. Last call. Anyone else? So it's already done it once. You don't have to do it twice.
I do.
Okay.
Suzanne Tonsing.
I'm sorry?
I
do.
do.
Suzanne
Suzanne
Tonsing.
Tonsing.
Okay,
All right. Anyone else?
Madam Chair, this is Liz. We have 2 people who have put into the chat that they are also here to speak. We had Ms. Boyd. I'm not sure if we heard her. And there's another person, I have to see her name. Prasad Kamte, I think, with a K.
All right. Well, let's note that and include that in our record.
okay. Yep, go ahead, Liz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning for this property since 1929. And the records room I found, the only relevant issue would be that in 1994, a permit was issued to demolish a single-family residence. There is one variance on file, Madam Chair, for this address. In calendar 94-226, a variance was denied to allow a single-family house with an attached garage at this address. The only issue that the city was reviewing at that time was the interior side yards. Those interior side yards did not equal the required aggregate of 10 feet. At that time, they were requesting 4-foot interior side yards. Both side yards would be 4 feet. And again, that variance was denied officially on August 21st, 1995. And that's all that I have, Madam Chair, that's relevant.
Thank you very much. The legal standard, please, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting area variances from the maximum gross floor area, interior side yard, and accessory building setback regulations of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. John Haney, are you with us? Who's going to be the spokesperson on this case?
It's Michael Fant at AODK, and John Heaney's also with us, and will also be responding.
Okay, who's the lead right now?
I'll be the lead, Michael Fant.
Okay, Michael, go right ahead.
Okay, so we have a couple of items to review, and I wanted to say right off the bat that the one of the three items, which is the garage, we are willing to move the garage to within the so that we, in other words, as a conditional approval, we're okay with moving the garage so it doesn't become a variance issue. Let's just put it that way. So I think we have like 6 inches we have to slide it over. We have no problem doing that.
Okay, good.
So
We
that
would need
was
to see a new design that shows that.
Mhm.
New plan.
yeah.
Okay.
So if that ends up if everything else ends up okay, I mean, we would hope that would be a conditional approval, and we're okay with that.
Great.
With the other two variances, so we have one that is a variance into the north side yard setback of 3 feet, and we are asking for a 1 foot variance there. So cutting into that 3 foot by 1 foot, and essentially it's just with a 30-foot lot. It's just a very tight lot to try to fit everything in. So we've got an 8-foot driveway, a 20-foot by 50-foot house, and you can see on the plan there that you've got zoomed in that we've actually even cut in the center of the house. There's about 12'4" of the house is actually at the 3 foot setback, and we're using, just because that side is so exposed, we wanted to provide some articulation along that facade, and that's why you're seeing that kind of cut in and the cut back out there. But again, it's just trying to use every bit of square foot that we can to try to maximize the use of this site. We came up with a 20-foot footprint and cutting into 19 feet at the center portion of the house where the dining room is. And that's why we're asking for the setback there, infringement of a foot. And with the area, going over the overall areas, just because we're utilizing the 3rd floor space, which is typically an attic space, and we're turning that into a studio so that it can be used by the occupants. And but it's not making the house any larger. We're within the height restrictions, just utilizing that attic space for a 3rd floor studio.
Okay. And the garage wall is less, okay, never mind. I see what you've done.
Mhm.
All right, others have come. We'd like to hear from them. Let's start with Donna. Donna, you with me?
Oh, hi. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the commission. Thank you for always including the community and the Community Development Corporation in these remarks. So the proposed construction, the residents, so there's this house has been a lot of debate recently, and a lot of the residents have come out in opposition because the proposed construction of the garage would require construction of a driveway, which would remove a healthy ash tree. And this in particular has dollars and many years advocating for those trees and working to preserve them. And I mean, really, they've worked tirelessly for over a decade to preserve these trees. So this is a case where the trees are highly protected. So we would like to, request that you guys, look at the proposed construction of the garage. We are not opposed to the home being built. A new single family residence is great there, but the garage that is proposed would require the tree being torn down, and that is a large issue to many of the community members. So please take that into consideration when making any consideration about the property. Thank you.
Councilwoman, Ms. Spencer, I know most of the council people like to go last. Is that also your request?
That is, Madam Chair. I would like to hear the community feedback before I speak. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Thank you. Okay, next, let's hear from Adam. The community planner.
Good morning.
Morning, Adam.
We did review this house through the Housing Design Review Subcommittee. We're fine with the proposed house for the design. Normally, we would also request that the house meet the side yard setback on the north side as well. But you can see through the photos that the adjacent lot is a combined parcel that's larger than normal and has a garage and driveway kind of abutting it. So I think normally we request that because of fire code issues or if buildings would be built there in the future. But since that is a combined lot with a driveway and garage, we're fine with that 1 foot variance there. In speaking to the tree itself, I did learn that, or I knew of the concern of those ash trees on West 50th and reached out to Councilman McCormick because I knew that he was very involved with the inoculation of those trees. And it seems like the architect and the owner want to keep that tree on the front within the all realm of possibility. I think there was a community meeting held for the discussion of this house and discussion of that tree. We certainly want a house to be there. This lot has been vacant since 1994, it seems, that Ms. Kukla read off. We want a house there. The ironic part of requesting no driveway and no garage would that be that they would have to come back for a variance for that no parking situation. We would be supportive of that, but our code says the opposite at the moment. So we are fine as the site plan currently exists and would support the construction of this house. Thanks.
And that's a utility pole, right? That's also going to have to be moved or something, I think.
I think that's on the property line actually. So between the utility pole and that top left photo is kind of the lot in question. The utility pole is on the northern edge of that property. So anything in that longer grass towards the south is like the parcel in question at the moment.
Okay. Is the architect with me?
Yes.
Okay. Is that something that you could work around that tree?
Yeah, what we're doing is we did get guidelines from Jennifer Kipp in December when we had our first design review meeting with Adams Group. And what you're seeing on the upper left picture there, the ash tree to the left is the one in question. And it was Jennifer Kipp's recommendation that in order to not jeopardize any of the other trees, that it was best to make sure that it was only one tree that possibly, that we might have issues with. And so where the driveway is currently being shown on the site plan is where the recommendation was to leave it, and that she gave us guidelines on how to treat those roots when we've got construction traffic coming on and off the site. The owner wants to keep that tree just as badly as the neighborhood does. That's one of the things we love about this street. And so our intent is to do everything per the guidelines that we were given by Urban Forestry, to do what we can during construction and to make sure that that tree stays there as long as possible.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's hear from some of the others that have been sworn in. Boy, I have a list of names. I'm not sure. Melanie? Was somebody?
Hello. Yes. I'm one of the owners as well. My husband is on the agenda, but I'm also planning to be one of the residents. So I just wanted to say that we're looking forward to being a part of this community, and we love this street. That's why we chose it. And we think we have a really nice design. We think the folks at AODK are fantastic architects and they've built something really beautiful. And we are looking forward to bringing our family. We have a 2-year-old little girl and being part of the neighborhood.
Great. Thanks, Melanie. Okay, somebody named Thompson, last name Thompson.
Heather Tonsing Volleson.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I only got part of your name.
That's okay.
Okay.
It's
go
a
ahead.
long one. So several of the neighbors submitted a petition that I hope is part of the record. I assume it is. We oppose the variances for several reasons. First of all, Jennifer Kipp did not say that we would be able to keep the healthy ash tree. She said that one would need to be removed to save 2 others, is what I recall at the community meeting. She did a detailed presentation. I wish that was actually part of this record too. But she did not say that would be able, that ash tree would be able to be saved. And in response to the community's concerns in January, we haven't seen any changes that have been made. So there was a lot of issues that were raised at that January 2021 meeting, and none of us have seen anything that has changed. All we got was the Board of Zoning variances. So this is the first time that we are seeing any of these plans. So aside from the healthy ash trees that we have spent over 15, I think it might be 15 years now, because my daughter is 11. So we've been working with the city to preserve these ash trees. We have spent thousands of dollars of our own money and advocated to keep that, because that was important to our street, the ash trees, for so many reasons that I won't go into again. We don't support building a house larger than the lot size allows. That is in our petition. We don't support being closer to the property line that's allowed, and we don't support the garage being closer to the property line. I understand that the architect says that that might change, but I haven't seen any. There's been no transparency on this project, and the residents really want what goes in to be quality construction and meet the code, that meet the neighborhood requirements. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think we had 22 residents that signed this petition. We had to get it together really quickly last week because we just got notice of this. Please let me know that has been reviewed by the folks that are listening to this, the folks that are in charge of this variance. I understand there's 4 people on this board. I don't know that much about this board. I don't really know much at all about how these things, or the legal standards. I would love to be provided with that so that I could properly prepare. So can somebody let me know that people have reviewed our petition and that are on this board?
Liz, did you get that petition?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have that. It's in the record. We also have letters from 8 neighbors that are adjacent to the property. I believe that most of those folks are on the call here.
Okay. Thank you. All right, let me hear from somebody else, please. Somebody who has not spoken yet. Please state your name.
Matthew Furman.
Matthew?
Yes. Good
Jump in.
morning.
Morning.
I'm the owner of the property directly to the north.
Is that left or right on my screen?
That would be to the right.
Okay.
So I'm concerned about this whole project. There hasn't been transparency. I've not seen any plans. And I don't know the intentions of this project. What I do know is the average house size on this street is 1,400 square feet. And we're asking to build a really large house on a really small lot. There are only 3 other houses on this block that are that size or larger, and they're all on lots that are twice the size. So I'm really concerned in how this is going to integrate onto this street. We have so much green space, these beautiful ash trees. I'm not sure that I can see this being pushed into this small little lot. Aside from that, the houses on either side, mine included, are only 1,300 square feet. So this proposed house is going to feel really large in this small spot.
Thank you, Matthew. Okay, somebody else has been sworn in? Somebody by name of Boyd?
Hi, that's me. Hello, everyone. I would just like to mirror a lot of the comments that have already happened. I have a meeting at 10, so I'm trying to squeeze in my commentary. I also would like to state my support for the ash tree staying and being in its most healthy position, because I am the property owner on the other side of this property, and that tree is quite close to our home, and we love it just as much as everyone else on this call does. And it's of a concern to me that after hearing the professional opinions of the city arborist, and I don't recall her name, Jennifer, I was on that call as well. I also have similar memories that several other community members have on this call, that she said if a driveway goes over that tree, the integrity of that tree will be up in the air and in question, which is of concern to me because I love these trees as well. We moved to this street in similar ways because of these trees. It is a very unique street in the city of Cleveland, unfortunately, where the neighbors banded together and were able to save all of the trees, from my understanding. And it is also, I'm concerned that a tree that has possible integrity issues will be very, very close to my and my partner's home, Gary Parisier. I don't have very different opinions than many people on this call, so I'll let them continue to speak. But just underlining that both my partner and I, Gary, are not anti-development of this lot. I would love to see a family move onto this lot. And I've had the pleasure of meeting John and Melanie, and they seem like lovely people, but I do think that there has been some transparency issues. And I think that I know that they're not from the city of Cleveland, so I don't know if they were aware of how big of a presence a lot of neighborhood block clubs and neighborhood groups have in the city of Cleveland, specifically in this area. Again, I don't have very many different opinions, so I'll leave it there, but I appreciate the time being able to speak. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nicole. I'm going to go to the councilwoman now. I think, Councilwoman, Ms. Spencer?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm certainly open to hearing from additional community members as well, if time permits. I unfortunately did not attend the community meeting that was held this winter, and certainly going forward, I've expressed to residents this is on the Ward 15 side of West 50th, and then there's the Ward 3 side, and Councilman Kerry McCormick would have been here this morning as well, but he is chairing the Health and Human Services Committee meeting this morning. So I informed him that I would be attending for both Ward 3 to make sure there's council representation today. And really, I'm for those West 50th Street residents I haven't met, I am already so impressed by your leadership and passion. I was briefed on the years-long many years of efforts to preserve these ash trees. You've extended their lifespan incredibly, is my understanding, that other parts of the city had their ash trees clear cut, but for your advocacy, but for all the resources that you brought to bear. And so I hope that the Heaney family and all those involved understand how much work has gone into this street on the part and advocacy on the part of the residents. So you're not coming to a blank slate. You're coming to a community with a lot of history, a lot of past process and advocacy. I'm concerned about the community's sentiment that there hasn't been transparency. So I would say that's really important. If this felt like a last minute rush to them, and they found out about this last minute and they had to rush to get these comments in and this petition completed, I am a little concerned about that. I think it's so important that new projects enter our community in a way that's sensitive. So I don't know if there's an opportunity for further dialogue. I want to comment on a couple of the variance points specifically here. It sounds like the garage variance, there's a solution for that. The lot size piece and the sheer scale of this home, I don't know if there is a way, if there is a way for that to be addressed by the architect or by the family. And I would like to hear from them about that. I think it's certainly a huge investment, and everyone recognizes what a big deal it is to have infill new construction. And as Adam Davenport said, we absolutely want that. We want families moving into our neighborhoods and investment happening in our neighborhoods. So I know what a huge project this is, but I too am wondering about the scale of the home. So that's an open question. And then I do want to speak to this very sensitive issue of the tree canopy. I had an opportunity this morning to speak with our urban forester, Jennifer Kipp. I wish she could have been here to provide testimony, because ultimately we're repeating back our understanding of what she's instructed. But to the community members, I hope I am not misinterpreting what she shared with me. She did share with me that over the next decade or so, there will need to be a plan in place to that these trees are healthy now, but they are reaching over the next decade the end of their lifespan, many of them, and there will need to be a plan. It will be, I was very unhappy to hear about it this morning from Jennifer. She indicated that she explained this to the community in a prior meeting, that you've extended the lifespan of these ash trees significantly, but there will need to be a plan in place to remove and replace the tree canopy, not a clear cutting, but a staggered approach. So we are facing, I just want to be grounded in that reality that there will need to, that will need to be addressed with great collaboration from the community. Jennifer told me this morning that she would absolutely welcome community input in terms of tree species that would replace these majestic ash trees. So it's really, I know I like Councilman McCormick will be very engaged and will support the community in any way possible to keep trees and to replace trees thoughtfully. But it seems to me that they're really, yes, I don't think it is accurate that if a driveway goes in, you can save that tree. I think the architect and the Heaney family, I would appreciate just your acknowledgement and honesty about that. If a driveway goes in, or if heavy construction equipment enters here to build the house, my sense from Jennifer Kipp is that that tree needs to come down no matter what. That's the nature. You're damaging the root. You'd have to cut back the roots in such a way that the tree might last a couple more years, but ultimately it would be severely compromised. So I think the question for the community is, we want infill new construction. We want families moving in. I don't necessarily feel it's reasonable to deny folks the opportunity to have a driveway, and would like further consider working with the community to think about that overarching strategy for preserving and replacing ash trees on the street, which per Jennifer Kipp sounds like it will be a necessity. So I would say, I don't know if the Board of Zoning Appeals is the appropriate venue for this conversation. Perhaps another meeting with Jennifer Kipp would further inform and make sure we're all on the same page with this really this matter that has taken so much of the community's time and leadership over the years.
Well, I'm
So
thinking
to conclude, yeah, go ahead.
I think if there is a meeting, it should be right there at the corner at that property where that tree is, because I'm looking at a plan that shows that driveway. You're going to have to go. There's just no way you can build this house without damaging those roots. That I'm not an arborist, but I worked on the tree commission for years, and we've been through this a million times. It just doesn't happen. You can't save it. That's the bottom line.
Madam Chair, this is Lori Wagner. Could I
Yes.
just make a legal point before we go on with the testimony of the neighbors? The issue here is the variances, and certainly the size of the
Yes.
house and the distance of the house from the
Yes.
neighbors is relevant in what the board is deciding. But the property owners here do have a right to build a house on that, and they do have a right to build a driveway on that. And it would not be appropriately legally to say you can't build a house because we want to save the tree. Unfortunately, however, this looks like a magnificent tree, but there are property rights of the people that own this lot too. So I think probably if the people could direct their comments more towards the variance issues, the size of the house and the setbacks, that might be appropriate.
Thank you, Lori. Puts it all in perspective.
On that note, Madam Chair, I do want to say I am concerned about the scale of the home relative to homes in the immediate area as it relates to the requested zoning variance of building a house larger than the lot size allows.
Well, because it goes out,
Councilwoman, are you telling us that you're against the variance?
No, what I'm hearing is that there was not, the community provided feedback on that, and there was really no dialogue or conversation since, and now they got notice of the BZA hearing without any interim touch point from the architect and or the owners. And so wondering if there's room for a conversation about that specific requested variance. I'm not opposed to new construction at this location.
Councilwoman, if you'd like to ask us to postpone this case to allow for another community meeting to present the plans again for feedback, that's your right. That's your, if you were part of the role that we have allowed as part of the policy and procedures of the Board of Zoning Appeals. So if you want to hold a meeting and ask us to postpone our deliberations, please do so.
This is John Haney. I was going to say something. One of the things we were trying to do was to save that tree. It sounds like everyone's saying, no, you can't. I mean, we were going to spend the additional cost to lay down the chips and lay down the construction mats, which was what Jennifer Kipp had mentioned as an option. So maybe we misinterpreted when she presented that was a real option, and we were going to be able to save this tree for another few years, which was very important. She mentioned that, they had maybe 10 years left. Our intent was not to come in and chop down this tree. So I do want to say that. As far as the size of the house, if you remove the legal square footage from the third floor, then we are under the 1,900 square feet. And so it's because we're building a livable space. If we were building livable space in the basement, we would also run into this issue. And there are several properties, again, not necessarily directly to the left or right of this property, but there are several within a 1 block radius that are a similar size of 1,900, 1,800, 2,000 square feet. If again, you remove the livable square feet of the third floor.
You're talking about 2,400 square feet.
Right, because there are 400 plus square feet in the third floor.
So yeah, I was going to speak to that as well. I was kind of waiting my turn here, but when we went through the design review committee with Adam Davenport's group, we did a context drawing for Adam's group that shows the street down to Bridge and upwards. So we went across like 8 different lots just to show where this house fits in context with the rest of the street. And keep in mind that this is part of the character of this area, is that, not all the houses are exactly alike. There's taller houses, thinner houses, fatter houses. Every house has a little bit different character, but we are within the height limits. There's actually a house just 2 houses south of ours, so on the opposite side of the one directly south, that's also a 3-story house. So it's not like there aren't houses just like this. We're not grossly oversized. We're going to be one of the larger ones on this street, but we're not the largest, and we're within the variety that you see in this area.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Okay, we have a request by the councilwoman to postpone the case. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
I second that.
Okay. Can we have a date, Mrs. Kukla, before we call the roll?
Yes, Madam Chair, we can put it on June 14th agenda as well, unless the councilwoman thinks she needs more time.
No, out of respect for the family who are trying to build a home, I'd love to work with the community to get this back on the agenda as soon as possible. And I will loop in Councilman McCormick, and obviously Anna from OCI is on this call, and we will reach back out to community members.
So what are the next steps, and how do we, I guess again, not being from Cleveland, not really understanding these steps. So what is next, and how can we move quickly? Because, obviously we're trying to move as quick as possible, and in fact are quite behind on this.
Is there any
Secretary
way to move
Kukla,
the
would it
date,
be
Mrs. Kukla, make it, we have it sooner? Liz?
The earliest would be June 7th. We do have a couple of other large cases on that. It would make for a long day. We would probably go past noon, 1 o'clock. So I know that we have members that have jobs that need.
Anything left in May for this lady?
Excuse me, this is Heather Tonsing-Vollison. I don't know the Robert's Rules of Orders, but I would like to be heard as a longtime resident of the street. I object to moving this forward because for the sake of quickness, these property owners have known since January about our issues, and nobody has addressed them. So the fact that you want to now move it quicker, I object to that. We should have some time to review these plans, to have a meeting as a community. I'm sorry that, they're behind.
So my reference was more around the interim. So the meeting with the community, how does that work? How do we get that, again, not knowing, not understanding that part of the process? So that's, I guess my question was more back to Jenny Spencer, what are the next steps? I'm fine with being on the June 14th meeting. But how do we make sure we meet in the interim? Because that's only about 4 weeks away. So that was where my comment was.
Okay, everyone, you cannot supersede the chair. If you need to speak, you need to ask the chair position. You just don't start yelling out what you want to say. So you either raise your hand, as we said at the beginning of the meeting, you raise your hand and you will be acknowledged, but you cannot just be yelling out what you need to say.
And I apologize, I just didn't know the Robert's Rules of Orders, and I can't figure out how to raise my hand on this chat. So that's why I spoke up. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to the process.
Madam Chair, we have a motion and a second, I believe.
Yes, we need a roll call.
That's just kind of disrupted that. In terms of where people are going to go from here, I think Adam Davenport would probably be a good resource there to help move this along in a reasonable way. So there you go. We have a motion. We have a second. I think we need to have a roll call.
And it would be for the June 17th schedule.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Faith,
Yes.
Ms. Britt,
No.
Mr. Donovan,
Yes,
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
Calendar 21-58 has been postponed to June 14th to allow time for that community meeting to happen.
Adam, the ball's in your court to get it organized. I think you ought to have the arborist there also.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you all. See. Okay. Calendar 21-060, 061, and 062. Go ahead, Ms. Faith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 21-061 at 3601 Siam Avenue. Calendar number 21-062 at 3603 Siam Avenue. And calendar number 060 at 3527 Siam Avenue. Cleveland Bricks owner proposes to erect a two-story frame single-family residence with attached garage. That is the case in all three cases. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
And Madam Chair, I would just like to point out, I've got them on 3 separate slides, but I'm still combining all the plans and everything, and there are different variances for each one.
Okay.
okay, everyone, for these 3 cases, if you're going to testify, I'm going to read a statement. I'm looking for a response of I do with your name. Here we go. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Name?
Byron Bonamici.
Okay, anyone else?
I do, Donna Gregonis.
Okey doke, anyone else?
I do, Joel Elbury.
Alrighty, Rudy, anyone else? Hearing none, last call. We move on to history.
Go ahead, Liz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. I was unable to find any records for the addresses in our building and housing records room. I did consult our 1930s Sanborn map and found that the project area was one large parcel with a single house on it. There's no indication of the number of dwelling units. We found no variances on file. And then in the more recent history in our Acela system, for the address of 3601 in 2009, a permit was issued to demolish a 2-story frame dwelling to correct the violation notices on that property. And that's all that I have.
Thank you. Ms. Wagner, the legal standard will be judging the case on.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting area variances from the minimum lot width, minimum lot area, minimum street frontage, rear yard distance, and maximum gross floor area regulations of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Who's the representative of Cleveland Bricks?
That would be me, Byron Bonamici.
Okay, Byron. Tell us exactly what you'd like to do.
So we have plans to build 3 single-family homes. You can see the site plan there. They're all relatively similar. We built pretty similar houses along the block before. And so we just wanted to do 3 more. With HDRS to sorry, 1 second.
Are you allowed to have houses with no street frontage? Hello, anybody?
I believe that's a question for Mr. Riccardi from Building and Housing.
Okay, you with us this morning? Yes.
I think so.
Okay, Mr. Cardy? He's probably right.
He has to type. He doesn't like to call in.
Well, Madam Chair, I believe that the variances actually speak to that. There is a mention of the width of the parcels not meeting the code. And I believe that that is that would be my interpretation, that Building and Housing has reviewed these plans and found that they don't meet the code in respect to, I can give you the section number. Yeah.
Okay, yes, it's encompassed in the thing, in the
Right,
variance.
it's there. Mhm.
Okay, so they need to have,
I'm not sure. I have the zoning variances pulled up on my computer. And they were mostly like rear yard setbacks, square footage issues. And yeah, some of them, you know, they're rear houses, but with rear lots, so they don't have any street frontage. But we worked with HDRS and redesigned the houses a little bit. We only have one curb cut that we're asking for to provide all of these houses with garages and access to the streets. We have a very creative pedestrian walkway, again, that we worked with HDRS and city planning, and that we've agreed to put into the project. We think that their suggestion of trying to create kind of a shared space for vehicle and pedestrian traffic, since it is off the beaten path, was a good idea. There are so many variances because we didn't want more townhomes in this specific area. So I think that's important to note. And obviously with single family homes, they become a little more challenging with the zoning code, but it's a big lot. We managed to get 3 units. And HDRS really helped us come up with these plans. The City Planning Commission approved these a little while ago based on the suggestions from HDRS. And there doesn't seem to be much opposition from the neighborhood, if any. And I think Joel and Donna can speak to that.
okay, let me call on Donna, ladies first. Donna first and then Joe.
Good morning again, Madam Chair and members of the commission. So we have worked with Cleveland Bricks numerous times when they reached out to us, and this proposed project has not gone through the block club review and the community process that's been in process for the proposed development site. After hearing about this being on the agenda late last week, we asked the developers to do a postponement and hold a block club meeting with the community members this week, and they did agree to that. So you know, we do ask that this be postponed to go through the community review process. So please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who does she represent?
Oh, I apologize. Donna Gregonis with Ohio City Incorporated and Tremont West Development Corporations. I'm the Neighborhood Development Director. Thank you.
Does Byron agree to it?
Do we have any correspondence from the councilman, and how does city planning address that request?
No, and he's hosting his own meeting this morning.
And
that'd be Carrie, okay.
Yeah.
I'm the block club chair, so I'd be happy to talk about this too. Joel Elvery, I swore in earlier.
And who do you represent, Joe?
I'm the co-chair of the Fulton Lorraine Bailey Block Club, which is the
Okay.
block club in this area.
Okay.
And I apologize. I think that, or maybe OCI has a different opinion. But so I was in communication with Bricks throughout the week last week. And, you know, this is, while they haven't gotten feedback on this particular project from the community, and they haven't followed the process that they're supposed to follow, this project reflects that they've addressed a lot. This project has avoided a lot of the problems that we've had with prior bricks projects. For example, sharing a single curb cut. There's no garages immediately close to the sidewalk. Most of the garage doors don't face the street. Like, in terms of pedestrian friendliness and safety, this project addresses a lot of things we're usually concerned about. It also has functional porches, so it's good from a community point of view. So while we haven't, they didn't follow the process, and we haven't been given the opportunity to give feedback on this particular project, there's a lot that reflects that they've been listening to community input. I informed our block club about this project in February through our email list when it was going to the planning commission for the lot split. At that point, there was only one person who expressed any objection. I emailed about the project again last week, and then to make sure that all the people, given the, since I think, we should move this forward without a block club meeting. I flyered on Siam Avenue, as well as surrounding property, like adjacent properties on Bailey Avenue, so that they knew about this. It was late because, again, we were given late notice, but they were informed. From that, I asked people to, respond to send emails to BZA or to me. I mean, also with a cover copy to me. In that, I got one email, and it was in support from someone who lives across the street and down just a couple houses, in support for this because they think it's a good use. The reality is that this is Cleveland Bricks likes to build a particular type of house. It seems like they like to build single family homes with attached garages, preferably room for 2 cars. That's when they're not doing a rehab. If they're building new, that seems to be really what they want to build. And what's happened here is they've figured out a way to do what they want to do on this lot size. Others might choose to put townhomes there, which would also, I think, be fine. But, at the end of the day, I don't see any, there hasn't been strong response from the neighbors, even, at the stages where I've informed them. The other piece is that Cleveland Bricks agreed to come to a block club meeting the week of the 17th to actually talk to people about the construction plan, because that tends to be where we have more problems, is during the construction phase and the impacts it has on the neighbors. And so they've agreed to come to talk about the construction plan, as well as open lines of communications for neighbors to confer with them during the what's it called?
Byron, are you okay
if there's problems
with,
during construction.
Byron?
So
this is the chair requesting attention from Byron.
I am listening.
Okay. Are you okay with requesting a postponement to June 14th so that the development corporations can have their meetings?
Well, we weren't really, and we don't want to postpone. It was fully our intention to go through the correct process. However, the turnaround for when I turned in the applications and when we got a date was, if I may say, far quicker than I had anticipated. And right now it's really to our benefit, and we're trying to seize it, just because right now construction times and everything else related to just the logistics of construction is so far behind. Another month would just be extremely costly to our timelines and set everything back way more than just 1 month. And so, we talked with Joel, and we really appreciate his being able to work with us and accommodate us as far as the block club is concerned. And we will have the meeting. We will present further projects at this meeting. But we would just like to try and move forward with this, with their blessing. I I'm just hoping, if the CDC is okay with it, hearing the comments from the Block Club, like I said, it was fully our intent to have it. It was just the turnaround was surprising to us as well. So we were just really hoping that we had gotten lucky. So I hope that's okay with everybody involved.
Well, I'm throwing it open to the board members. Any comments?
Well, it seems to be this is Kelly. It seems to be a discrepancy between the CDC and the Block Club. The CDC thought the Block Club didn't hear about it. The Block Club is saying they did and generally okay with it. And more want to have a meeting about how they're going to construct these homes versus being against them going there. So I think if right now, if Donna can say she's okay with what the Block Club said, I think we can move forward.
Kelly, given your thinking here, I'm thinking there is a way, because I don't hear any individual opposition to the variance requests, that we could pass this with an understanding that we won't ratify it till after the community meeting that's already scheduled for, I think I heard, next week or something like that. So, it wouldn't put us off that far into the future in terms of allowing the developer to move forward and start building it. But at the same time, gives the community the ability to have input and have their questions asked and answered.
Donna, is that meeting on May 17th, which is next Monday, I believe?
Hi, good morning again. So I would like to ask that we postpone it still. I do think it would be fair. Oh, wait, I don't think we should postpone.
It's next Monday, the 17th, that you would have your meeting.
So I think,
Yes or no?
given the community feedback, I wasn't aware of the full community feedback until Joel told us about it. So I would say we don't need to postpone this project, but in the future, I would like to ask the developer to make sure that they at least let us know if it's going to be on the agenda so quickly so that we can work together and avoid this kind of mess in the future.
Thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Tim, I think we're going along with your motion or your suggestion. And if you'd like to make the motion, be my guest.
Okay, Madam Chair and others, given the testimony and the lack of any particular opposition to any of the individual variance requests, I would move that we would grant the variances as requested with an understanding that there is a community meeting scheduled for the 17th of May in which the transparency of the project will be engaged, if you will, and that our ratification will take into consideration any of the suggestions given at that meeting in that process.
Second. Call the roll.
Madam Chair, I do have a question. Should we hold ratification until May 24th to allow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I kind of thought that was where Mr. Donovan was going, but I just thought I would clarify it. Okay. Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Calendars 21-60, 2161, and 2162 are granted conditionally. These cases will be ratified on May 24th after comment from the community corporation.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
The Planning Commission does support this project.
Oh, thank you, Maurice.
It's too late, Maurice. It's too late.
I realize, I guess we're just not that important.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did see that we got
I
Shannon
think
here.
you should go to that public meeting, Maurice, and have a representative there.
Yeah, we'll probably have, I believe that will be Matt Moss.
We will send an invite.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Old business?
Without objection?
3 and 4 without objection.
Without objection?
Without objection.
Objection.
Okay.
Without
Now we also
without
need,
objection.
I'm sorry? We need
I just said
affirmation,
without it.
affirmations on course final construction because of the COVID. Hello.
Without
Wait.
objection?
Without objection on all 3.
Without objection?
What are they going to use for an excuse when COVID is all done?
They're probably going to be using it for years to come.
Right. Thank you.
It's been a whole year delay.
Shannon, I didn't know you were pregnant.
Without objection?
Should we close the public comment?
Yes.
Yes.
I motion we adjourn.
Congratulations. All right, all. Nothing else?
Okay, no, I think I answered your question last week, right? Ms. Johnson from the law department. I don't know if you want to speak to Lori directly, if we should hang on and.
I want to speak to Shannon because she had a different thing after the number 75 ordinance or whatever it was. She said there's another one.
Okay,
And
let's,
I want her to just tell her to mail it to me.
well, we can, I think legally we can speak after this, right, Lori, if it's just Carol and staff?
Right, if it's not the majority, the board.
Okay, so if you want to hang on, Carol, for a minute.